beautiful people of Ghana, is a Nigerian government bringing you political news in our channel Ghanatube. Ghana Minister for Information, Honorable Nartey George, has officially resumed his office and he has a lot to tell us. Please watch.
Also, not very big country. When I say not very big, it is one that a Kenyan cannot practice a marathon.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to everybody here. This is officially my first working day as the Minister for Ghana's Minister for Communications. And so it's quite important that I share this platform with you. I just got sworn in on Friday. My government came into power literally, Friday was 30 days, exactly a month after we came into office. And it's important that I'm spending my first working day here in an AI summit because it's one of the key focuses of the Ghanaian Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations. Ghana may be a small country, but we're not the giants of Africa like Nigeria say they are. But I didn't say they are the giants, I said like they say they are. But we are the gateway to Africa. Ghana is the gateway to Africa. And so we believe that if Ghana or Africa is going to really take on this AI challenge, then Ghana needs to up its game. Many African countries would have a similar situation to what we have in Ghana, data silos. And I agree with Minister Boston that we don't need to reinvent the infrastructure. We don't need to look at building the infrastructure as Africa. We don't have the financing for that. But what we do have is the data set, and that's what Lassina was talking about. That when you look at the human capital in Africa, the West needs that human capital. They need our data sets. Because today when you're looking at biometric data sets that are run on AI models, they're about 98% accurate when it has to do with Caucasian males. But when it has to do with black males, even black Americans, the correctness drops to about 48%. Where do they get the data sets? It's from Africa. If we begin to build these biometric data sets, then Africa becomes that repository of data. Coming in from Parliament, and I'm serving my third term in Parliament, I realized that we've built a lot of biometric data silos in Ghana. And so the first thing my ministry is going to be doing is to work around building a data exchange hub, where all government data is going to be put in one central repository, where we can then begin to do big data mining on the big data sets that you're holding. Because if you have these individual government agencies holding the small pieces of data, you never have the big data sets to be able to do the large language models that you're talking about. I heard a brother from Sierra Leone speak about Creole. We want to be able to build enough data sets like Singapore is doing with Sea Lion, because I visited Singapore AI and realized that a small country, Singapore, is building the Sea Lion large language model for the whole of Asia, and China is coming to buy and work on that model. And that's what we want to do. We want to build the large language models so that Minister Bosun doesn't have to build them in Nigeria, but comes to take them from Ghana. Because again, we're speaking about the connectivity. So that data set is not... Well, I think that as a country, Ghana has made some good strides in artificial intelligence deployments already. Kenya has M-Pesa, we have what we call Momo, which is a short form mobile money. So Momo, and basically everybody does Momo. Everybody transacts money or transfers money using this digital financial tool, which is what basically drives financial inclusion to the unbanked people in Ghana. But for me, one of the main tools that we use AI for is in our agriculture. Ghana is currently using AI tools to do drone delivery for irrigation and for seedlings to remote areas of the country where we're doing farming. We're also using AI tools to do testing for malaria and tuberculosis. treatments in Ghana. So these are new areas where we're beginning to open up the frontiers in telemedicine, in e-agriculture. And that's one of the key focuses of the new president, to drive digital agriculture, where we can do value addition to our agriculture, so we're no longer an export of raw material, but using AI we're able to add value before we sell it. Because again, Lassina made reference to cocoa, and the fact that Ivorian cocoa farmers and Ghanaian cocoa farmers can't sell cocoa powder, but that's sold by Swiss brokers and Belgian brokers who don't grow a single pod of cocoa, that make 400 times more than a cocoa farmer per ton. It makes no sense. Africa needs to reimagine this. And one of the key things we want to do is to build a workforce like Minister Sina speaks about. We have our 1 million coders program that we're talking about. Now, in the space of 4 years, our target is to at least, at the very minimum, train 1 million people in digital skills, using a decentralized model in each of our 260 districts. So you have people who are cybersecurity professionals, people who are data analysts, people who are data scientists, people who are data protection persons. Because one of the key things Africa must wake up to is the fact that as we begin to digitize our services, our e-government services, we don't have a lot of education for online presence. Online fraud and personal identity theft is going to become a big pandemic on the African continent. And so we need to begin to prepare for that. As we push our services online, push our people online, we need to begin to put in place the engagements and the safeguards to ensure that the African people are not susceptible to identity theft. Thank you. Harness our collective strengths instead of each of us trying to build our individual strengths. And so for me, I'm all about the synergies that we can create, because that makes us go faster. And I think that one of the key areas, and the question you asked was literally to deal with the poverty on the African continent. And I'm sitting back here and I'm asking myself, EcoBank is operating in a number of African countries. The number of Nigerian banks operating in Ghana. However, when you want to remit money from Ghana to Nigeria, you need to use the SWIFT system that makes money for a corresponding bank in New York that has done nothing. Meanwhile, that Nigerian bank is signed up and connected to PAPS, which is the Pan-African Payment System. EcoBank is signed up to PAPS. But because of the sensitization and culturalization, the bank staff offer you the SWIFT transfer ahead of the PAPS. We need, and for me this is critical to what we will do as over the next 4 years with my government's term, because we host the Africa Free Continental Trade Area in Accra. And so for us, digital trade is a critical thing. And so we need to begin to look at how we can actually begin to share financial technology data sets across the African continent. Because that's the only way a farmer in Kenya can sell tea to a shop in Ghana and get payment across the digital platform without us having to have our currencies exchanged from the cedi to the dollar and from the dollar to the shilling. But we should be able to transact directly between the cedi and the shilling. That's the only way we can begin to grow. And when we have this financial data, we can begin to create the trust economy you speak about. Because when we have this financial data and we have your SIM cards locked to an equipment, locked to a GPS location, even if we don't have a physical house address, where the bank is able to then identify, pinpoint a GPS location using your equipment. So I have a central equipment identity register that's speaking to yours in Togo, speaking to his in Nigeria. Even if you left Ghana and went into Ivory Coast, we can still ping you and we can find you. So if we're able to deal with this, then governments can begin to do what Togo did during the pandemic, even in real time, supporting impoverished farmers with funding to be able to buy the seedlings when it is time for the planting season. Because what I know in Ghana is there are farmers who miss the planting season because they don't have money. But we can take them out of the poverty bracket once we're able to identify them using technology and AI and give them the funding that they need, because we've built a credit model for them on the back of the fintech technology that we've shared. We know how much Momo they do in a month. We know what their spending power is, what their capacity is, what percentage of that can we give to them as a credit line. These are real data sets that we can build if we're committed to work together.
Honorable Samuel Nartey George, and this has actually given people so much confidence that he knows his work and he will do it perfectly. Please do well to like, comment and follow. Put on notification bell so you get all our news one by one. Thanks my people.